Hi all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the musical theatre book tag, which I saw on Kaz from Cats and Cameras channel a little while ago. Thought it was really fun. I absolutely adore musical theatre and this is a quick fun tag, so I thought I'd give it a go. Question 1, I've got the prompts on the screen over here, which is where I'm looking. Question 1, Wicked. Favourite fictional friendship. So for this one I've gone with Matthew Shardlake and Jack Barrack from the Matthew Shardlake series, which is written by C.J. Sampson. This is the second book, which is where Jack appears for the first time. Matthew Shardlake is a lawyer who gets caught up, it's set in Tudor times, and he gets caught up in like political intrigue and court intrigue, and he gets drawn into basically solving mysteries, which is what the books are sort of focused on, but it's also about his like big character arc through the series. There's 7 books so far, we are hoping for more. And it's a historical fiction series that I just adore because it's a really good balance of historical fiction but also mystery, and the way it's written is really modern, and I absolutely love Matthew and Jack's relationship and how it develops and changes over the books. So in this one, like I said, it's the first time that Jack appears, and he is basically there to be Matthew's assistant, and Matthew doesn't want him at all, and so they definitely go from a place of like enemies to friends. Which I really like as well. I really like the dynamic between them, and Jack is younger and he's more daring and he wants to go headfirst into things, whereas Matthew's kind of older and wants to do things in a slower, more methodical way, and I just love the dynamic between them and the way that their relationship and their friendship changes and grows through the series. Question 2, Sweeney Todd, favourite villain. There was really only one answer for this for me and that is Rhiannon from Sweet Pea. Rhiannon is a serial killer, and she's also one of my favourite characters of all time. So if this is my first video, the first video of mine that you've watched, hello, welcome. I've talked about this book so much. It's written by C.J. Skews. I have read it 3 times now, I think, and thoroughly enjoyed it every time. At the moment there's 2 books, but the 3rd book is being written because I follow C.J. Skews on Twitter and she keeps mentioning book 3 and I'm like, oh, very excited. But yeah, in this we follow, well, in all the books we follow Rhiannon, who is the girl next door. She's got a boyfriend, she's got a little dog, she's got a job that she hates, and she's got a habit of killing people. And somehow she's one of the most relatable characters I've ever read. It's, I think it says it here, yeah, Bridget Jones meets American Psycho. It's funny, it's dark, it's completely inappropriate, and I love it. Question 3, Phantom of the Opera, favourite love triangle. I don't have an answer for this question because I don't tend to read books with love triangles in. It's a trope I really don't like. It's usually completely unnecessary, and I would direct you to a video that, funnily enough, Kaz made recently about books or series that didn't need a love triangle, so please go and watch that. I will link that in the description. Yeah, I just don't tend to read them, and also I think it was Jade a Reader pointed out recently that it's very rare that it's an actual love triangle, because a love triangle means that all 3 people are into each other, whereas usually it's just 2 people in love with a third. So like in The Hunger Games, it's not a triangle because Peter and the other one, I've just reread that series, what is it, Gabe? I can't remember. But usually like an actual love triangle would involve like person A in love with person B, but also in love with person C, etc. So I think the way that Jade described it was like a love arrow where you've got 2 people in love with the third. I can't choose one of those because I don't have any. It's not a trope I like, so we're going to pass. Question 4, The Lion King, favourite sidekick. For this I have chosen Goodnight Mr. Tom by Michelle Magorian, one of my favourite books that I reread last year, I think, or earlier this year maybe. I feel like it was last year. This is a children's classic, and I've chosen Sammy from this, who is the little dog. This is set in World War II, and a young boy is evacuated from London into the countryside where he's sent to live with this grumpy old man called Mr. Tom, and it's about their friendship and their relationship and what happens. And Sammy is just the most wonderful sidekick in this because I think it's a she or a he, I can't remember. They, let's go with that, are just this, yeah, wonderful sidekick for both Mr. Tom and the little boy whose name has now completely escaped me. William, that was it. Yeah, they're just there for both of them, and as soon as I saw this prompt I was like, the dog from Goodnight Mr. Tom, for sure. Although be warned, this will rip your heart out, smash it to pieces and hand it back to you, so it made me cry about 3 times. Question 5. Grease, least favourite ending. I love that that's the prompt for Grease, because Grease is such a weird musical, and the ending, they just fly off in a car and nobody says anything. Anyway, for this I've chosen Soulmates by Holly Bourne. This is Holly Bourne's debut book, and because it's a Holly Bourne, I really wanted to like it. I've said this before, it's my least favourite of her books. It's just weird, and the ending was very weird, and it was one of those where I almost threw it across the room, and I was like, I'm very glad I didn't read this first, because if I'd read this, this would be the only book I've read by Holly Bourne. I really didn't like it, and the ending, like, obviously I can't really say too much about it because spoilers. Yeah, it was not for me, the ending of this book. Question 6, Matilda. Oh, I love Matilda. I love the story, I love the film, I love the musical. We took Charlie to see it in London, must be 2 years ago now, and it's one of the best things I've ever seen. It was incredible. And I also love musicals that have like mainly like a child cast, because the skill that those kids have got is just breathtaking. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about, is it? Favourite adaptation of a book. Is anyone surprised at all? The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Shocker, I know. I love the Hulu adaptation of this with Elizabeth Moss. I think they've done it beautifully. They've brought it to life really well. They have made changes, but I feel like they were changes that made it better. So things like Serena Joy in the book is supposed to be much, much older than Offred, whereas in the TV adaptation they're the same age, and I think that makes it a lot more interesting actually, because the tension between them is different. I think they handled it brilliantly, and they've also added to it and kind of expanded the world that Atwood created, and yeah, it's a very tough watch, and obviously I need to give a content warning for both the book and the TV show for rape, sexual assault, torture. Is generally just very dark and scary, but I think they did a fantastic job adapting it. It's the best adaptation I've seen. There are a couple of film versions which are a little bit, they're okay, but because it's a film, like, I can't get into the depths of it, and so I was really excited when I saw that a TV show was coming, because I knew it would be given the space it needed, and so far I've thoroughly enjoyed all 3 series, and I can't wait for more, which I think is coming next year. I saw a trailer on YouTube, which I'll link in the description, last week, which said it was coming next year, so hopefully COVID won't mess that up. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite adaptation, which is good because it's also my favourite book, so thank goodness for that. And then question 7, last question, is favourite death in a book, and this was quite hard because usually talking about a death in a book would be a spoiler, which I don't like to do. And then I thought of this book, which is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. I buddy read this with Simone earlier in the year and had absolute blast. I'm really glad we buddy read it because I feel like if I'd been reading it on my own, I might have got a bit lost. This is a book about the main character dying over and over again, and all the different ways that her life could have gone. So I'll just read you a little bit of the back because that will probably explain it better than I can. It says, during a snowstorm in England in 1910, a baby is born and dies before she can take her first breath. During a snowstorm in England in 1910, the same baby is born and lives to tell the tale. What if there were second chances and third chances, in fact an infinite number of chances to save your life? Would you eventually be able to save the world from its own inevitable destiny? And would you even want to? It's my first Kate Atkinson book that I've read, and it definitely won't be my last. This is very intricate, like the plotting of this must have been a nightmare. It's very intricate, it's very dark, it's set, as you can tell, it starts in 1910, so just as World War I is starting. It then goes through the interwar years and into World War II. So again, content warnings for death, for war. There's also a rape scene in this. It's very, very dark, but I feel like it's handled really well. And yet this has got the same character death over and over. So those are all the questions. I'm going to tag 3 people to do this because I'd be very interested in their answers. I'm going to tag Mary from Mary Among Stories, Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, and Faye from Mystery Date with a Book. I will link all of them in the description so you can go and check them out. Tell me what your favourite character death is. Leave me a comment, let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys. Bye!